Dr. Alvin Mahrer is known for his revolutionary ideas in psychology and psychotherapy. His research and writings have highlighted an original methodology for psychotherapy that is grounded in his unique theory of personality. Experiential psychotherapy, as developed by Alvin Mahrer, quote, looks at change in a fundamentally different way for most psychotherapies, a dramatic departure in ways of understanding what psychotherapy is and what it can achieve. For Mahrer, the perspective offers new ways of listening to clients and provides psychotherapists access to ways a person is capable of or has available for being. Dr. Mahrer, who was influenced by Freud, Jung, Carl Rogers, and George Kelly, favored a humanistic view of psychotherapy. His unique theory of personality, outlined in his book, Experiencing a Humanistic Theory of Psychology and Psychiatry in 1978, was an impressive undertaking. Contained within 844 pages, Mahrer creatively illustrates how individuals should be understood in terms of their potentials for experiencing and how this contributes toward integration and actualization of a person, guiding an individual toward becoming a whole new person. Dr. Mahrer, quote, it is the experiencing person which organizes their behavior. As such, he vigorously maintained that the aim of psychotherapy should be to describe the nature of the experience and not to explain the behavior. Would you please come up?
Oh, yeah. Hi, well, my name is Gontonvnick. I was a student of Dr. Mahrer, worked very closely with him for many years, up until his passing in 2014. All these technical issues remind me when I first started to teach, what I would do is I would have a key, I would have a disc, I would have a regular disc, I would print it out, and everything was covered in case something happened. Never trusted it, so anyways, it brings back some good feelings. Anyways, many years ago, I read an article in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology that changed my life. As I read through this essay on something called experiential psychotherapy, there were certain phrases, words, and ideas that stood out, such as discovering what was deeper, using strong feelings, actualization, bringing about a qualitative change in a person, and the idea that psychotherapy had to excel beyond the common notion of fixing a problem or treating an illness. According to this author, he argued that psychotherapy should be a way of enabling the individual to become the kind of person he or she could become. More importantly, each session has to go beyond issues of troublesome behavior, problematic thoughts, or unwelcome actions. In this therapeutic model, the actions of the psychotherapist and the role of the individual were so very different. The author of the article was Dr. Alvin R. from the University of Ottawa in Ottawa, Canada. Dr. Mahrer is best known for his clinical work, extensive research, and humanistic approach known as experiential psychotherapy. Throughout his lifetime, he addressed such subjects as personality development, the relationship between mind and body, how a person can become optimal, discovering the goal of psychotherapy, using dreams in psychotherapy, the supervision of trainees in psychotherapy, and what psychologists can learn from the study of the philosophy of science, and so much more. In 2005, Raymond Corsini, the editor of the classic textbook, Current Psychotherapies, the 7th edition, wrote that Alvin Mahrer's chapter has truly broken new ground, and all therapists should consider learning this approach. Experiential psychotherapy, according to Corsini, is not just another method. In fact, he considers it revolutionary as Freud was 100 years ago and Carl Rogers 50 years ago. Mahrer's psychotherapy for Corsini is a revolutionary concept that must be tried to be appreciated. Over the years, others have commented that Alvin Mahrer's work presents a radical change to what is possible in the field of psychotherapy. John Rowan wrote that Alvin Mahrer's work was one of the greatest contributions to humanistic psychology since the passing of Abraham Maslow. While Ernesto Spinelli refers to Alvin R as a genuine maverick within our increasingly docile and narrow-minded profession. Whether in his writings, at a conference, workshop, or in the classroom, Al's words were always an invitation to those interested to go beyond the traditional way of thinking while considering what psychotherapy could and should be. The essence of his words were a call for each person to discover their own answers and build a new paradigm, and that would go beyond the usual accepted theories of truth. That is to search for and explore helpful models of usefulness when it comes to understanding human nature. Al's experiential therapeutic model regards psychotherapy as a way of enabling an individual to become the kind of person he or she could become. Each session wasn't to solve a problem or to fix something, but more so to discover new ways of being at the very core of that person. As such, each session and future sessions are geared towards as much change as the person is ready and willing to attain. As someone that has been working with this model of psychotherapy for many years, I've truly been impressed by the remarkable results within each session and the comments of the many who have benefited from these sessions. Alvin R. Mahrer was a professor emeritus at the University of Ottawa in Ottawa, Canada. He was a fellow of the American Psychological Association. He received the Award of Excellence in Research from the University of Ottawa, received the APA Distinguished Psychologist Award and the APA Living Legend in the Psychotherapy Award, the Rollo May Award for Pursuit of New Frontiers, also from APA, and he was a past president of Division 32 and co-founder of Division 29. Over the years, Al was the author and co-author of over 300 journals, articles, and 24 books in the field of psychotherapy. His last book, titled The Relativity of Psychological Things Towards a Paradigm Shift in the Field of Psychotherapy, has just recently been published. So it is with great honor that I accept this acknowledgement of Alvin R. Mahrer's contributions to humanistic psychology and the field of psychotherapy. His lifetime of work remains a testimony to the person who was in search of building an optimal world and inviting others to do the same. In the afterword of his last book, he wrote, "Transformation of the individual leads to a comprehensive metamorphosis of humanity, to completely let go of the common realities and limitations so as to open up new worlds of opportunities and the awareness that psychological things are seen as relative to their locations. In this bigger picture," he wrote, "you can actually discover and transform the world you are living in and how it can be." Recently, I came across a quotation of philosopher Martin Buber, who wrote, and I think it applies to Al, "I have no teachings. I only point to something. I point to reality. I point to something in reality that had not been seen. I take those that listen to me by the hand and lead them to the window. I open the window and point to what is outside. I have no teachings, but I carry on the conversation." Lastly, I would like to leave you with a few comments that were given to me by fellow presenters who couldn't be here today that I thought would be a good way to end this acceptance of this award. From Dr. Christine Morel of Ottawa, she wrote, "As I reflect on Al, I came to understand and appreciate that he meant what he meant. To listen, and to listen experientially a la Mahrer, has been the most challenging journey I have undertaken. It has also been the most exciting and fulfilling experience one that I often share with my students. Through Al's experiencing, I gained a completely different perspective of what psychology and psychotherapy can be and more. Thank you, Al, for your formative time, lifetime work. I feel privileged to have walked alongside one of the greatest transformative minds in our field." And from Dr. Peggy Kleinplatz, also of Ottawa, she wrote, "You really should read his books. They are utterly astonishing in the breadth of the questions he poses and the answers he puts forward." But if he were here today, he would say, please don't accept my answers. They're mine. Find your own. And he would mean it. He was not being territorial, but quite the opposite. He wanted each of us to dig deep and to aim high and discover, not merely adopt, but truly discover the answers that would shape each of our lives and future generations to come. So on behalf of our little group, we thank the